folks, the Filipina P here. And today we're gonna have some fun as I help you classify the types of women you want to date, the ones you want to marry, and the ones you want to avoid using the famous Crazy Hot Matrix. Many of you guys are already familiar with this, but I bet you've never seen the Filipina edition. Now, this is all in good fun, and I'm not suggesting that you use the following information to seriously evaluate a prospective mate. Just sit back and enjoy this guide to the relationship between hot and crazy. Now, every guy wants to date a hot woman, meaning in this case, a woman that you're attracted to. It could be her looks, it could be her intelligence, it could be the fact that she is an orphan so you don't have to support any pesky in-laws. On the other hand, nearly every guy wants to avoid the crazy Filipina, the one that takes you on a roller coaster ride whether you bought a ticket or not. Making the right choice between the two can be the difference between peaceful bliss and Medusa's kiss. So without further ado, let's look at the math behind the graph, the Crazy Hot Filipina Matrix. Now, like any other math equation, the first thing we need to do is define terms. In this case, the term crazy, which is our y-axis. Crazy. The value refers to a Filipina's JC, or jealousy coefficient. Anyone can be just plain old crazy, but with a Filipina, it's always crazy jealousy that ruins everything. So that's what we're gonna focus on. To determine the value on the y-axis, her jealousy coefficient, we simply count the number of times your Filipina displayed her jealousy over the course of 1 week with the things like temple attacks, popping up unannounced, or hurling kitchenware at you, and multiply by 2. For example, if your Filipina warned another woman to stop chatting with you, went nuts when you smiled at the cashier at Watson's, and then pulled a hunger strike outside your front door because you forgot your 9-day anniversary, that would be 3. 3 times 2 equals a jealousy coefficient of 6, which is pretty low for a Filipina. Now we're gonna label the crazy axis from 4 to 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We start with 4 because there's no such thing as Filipina who's less than a 4 crazy jealous. Now we're gonna make hot our x-axis. Hot. And label it from 1 to 10 in the normal ways guys refer to attractiveness of a woman. So that's 0 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But this doesn't just refer to physical attractiveness. It's relationship attractiveness too. She could be missing a front tooth, which might knock her down a few points, but she could have a stable job, which shoots her score back up again because she won't be constantly hitting you up for money. Next, we add the most important part of the graph. This is the crazy hot line. A line that you never want to go above because if you do, you're putting yourself at risk without getting a lot of reward. You don't want to date someone who's more crazy jealous than hot, do you? So this area above the line is all no-go zone. No go. But right around here in the upper corner is the danger zone. Danger, danger. The Filipinas in this zone may be incredibly hot, but the amount of jealousy could put your life in danger. Up here are the women that will slash your tires if you piss them off, or even have their 12 cousins show up at your door in the middle of the night with baseball bats. Avoid the danger zone. So obviously, below the crazy hotline is where you want to stay. From a 1 to an 8 hot is your fun zone. Fun zone. This is where you enjoy their company and have a good time, but be honest about your intentions. Above a hot score of 8 is where things get interesting. If you find a relationship that's worth more to you than an 8, it's gonna fall into one of 3 categories. Above a crazy value of around 7 is your date zone. Date zone. These are the women you want to date repeatedly and maybe date them seriously while you further assess the situation. Much like quantum particles that can disappear from one location and suddenly reappear in another, your Filipina can change positions on the chart. 1 minute she can be over here, and you find out she's pregnant with her cousin's baby, and her position pops up over here. Well, typically, the higher the crazy coefficient, the more rapid the movement of the Filipina particle. So you really need to study the various positions she appears in to determine where your Filipina is most often situated on the graph before assigning a value. If your goal here in the Philippines is marriage, and you're lucky enough to find a woman whose crazy score is between a 5 and a 7 with a hot score above an 8, well, it might be time to go shopping for a ring because women in this zone are incredibly hard to find. And if you have the chance to snap her up, but don't pull the trigger, someone else will. So this is the way, the marry zone. And that leaves us with the most valuable position of all. Not too long ago, I did a video on Filipino myths and legends, and there's one I didn't mention that also appears in many other cultures as well. The unicorn. With regards to our graph, a unicorn would be a mythical Filipino with a crazy score lower than a 5 but hotter than an 8. Unicorn. I've heard that they exist, but I've never witnessed it myself. So if you believe you've located one, I requested that you don't spook her. Just try to capture her heart and bring her here into my testing facility so that we can authenticate and verify her existence. Now, occasionally I hear from guys that swear they've run across a Filipina even more desirable than a unicorn that has a crazy jealous score below a 4 but is also super hot. Folks, let me be clear, this is quite impossible, and I'm afraid what you've located is a ladyboy. Fortunately, there's a simple procedure called the Dundee field test.
That was a guy.
This can be conducted right on the spot, but make sure you get advance permission before attempting the maneuver. Our research indicates that 97% of the time, permission to conduct the field test is granted. And in 72% of the cases, it's actually requested by the test subject. So there you have it, guys, the crazy hot Filipino matrix. I hope it made you think, made you laugh, and made you want to get out there and start conducting your own research. Till next time, folks. But don't think for a minute that I'm gonna let you foreigners off the hook so easily. Get ready, ladies, for the cute rich foreigner matrix. Want to know how we Filipinas decide which of you guys to date? Well, fortunately, this graph is much less complicated to understand. On the y-axis, we have cute, which is easy for a Filipino to determine visually. It includes the number of chins the man has, the thread count on the top of his head, and the proportion of his other attributes. Then at the x-axis, we have rich, which is also called the treasure measure, which is simply a total of his liquid assets. Now, this graph is also known as the depth of pocket, size of rocket chart. It's simple to use because there are only 3 zones. 3 zones. First, there's a very large no-go zone. No-go. Where a man has neither looks nor money. Then you have the husband zone. Husband zone. Once you cross a certain threshold of money, it becomes irrelevant what you look like and will attempt to marry you anyway. And then finally, you have the fun zone. Fun zone. For guys who don't have enough money, but you're just so darn cute that we'll date you anyway, until we find someone in the husband zone. So there you have it. Both sides of the coin reduced to their simplest form. I hope you've enjoyed our little foray into mathematics today. And I'll be back in just a few days with something that'll surprise you. Till next time, folks. Just one last thing before you go. If you think about it, I'm kind of like your bartender, listening to your comments and questions, giving you advice when I can, and brewing up some intoxicating content for your enjoyment. The only thing I ask in return is a small tip in the form of a thumbs up on this video, subscribing to my channel, sharing this video with friends, and hitting the notification bell so you know when your next round has been poured. I promise, it'll only take 10 seconds to do, and your tip will make my day. You wouldn't want to shaft your bartender, would you? And for last call, why not enjoy some of my other videos too? See you real soon!